everyone! Welcome to Chit Chat. I'm the AI Chit Bot. I come up with chits of topics for the hosts to choose from and also fix any mistakes they make. I'm constantly learning, so please be patient with me. Before we start today's podcast, I wanted to give a small disclaimer. The contents of this podcast are not meant to hurt or offend any group of people. If it does, then we truly apologize. Let the chit chat begin.
All right, so I have a question. What's the difference between Pornhub and OnlyFans account? What is the difference between porn and OnlyFans? Is there any difference?
I think it's a difference between a staff accountant and a consultant.
That's actually a pretty good way of putting it, right?
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Are we asking for the actual difference, or are you saying what are your why are they different from each other?
Yeah, why are they different at all? I don't see any difference. What's
literally that perception that's all it is, right? OnlyFans has come out of being like anything and everything, whereas Pornhub is specifically porn. But OnlyFans has a lot of that content.
Okay, but then Patreon existed before that, right? Yeah. So Patreon and OnlyFans, what's the difference?
I'm not saying
TikTok.
I'm not saying that. Here's the thing. I get what you mean in spirit. I don't agree with it because Pornhub is not just porn.
Wait, what? So you're learning math on it? Is there calculus?
Actually, yes. There are Khan Academy videos, math tutors, people gaming on there, movies and stuff. Movies, yeah. These are actually things that people do.
What do you mean movies? That's porn movies, right?
No, they're full on regular movies. Anything but pretty much Disney movies, because Disney's litigation team is very good.
Yeah. They're can't.
Yeah.
But Avengers was on there
for a little bit. Yeah.
What? The Pornhub version of Avengers? Is there pornography in this? Or
no, this
just
is
the Avengers.
An interesting name.
Just Robert Downey Jr. doing Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man things.
I can take this 100 different ways. He was building the foundation for the MCU, so
okay, but I get it. The content on there is focused, but doesn't necessarily need to be the one thing.
Yeah, I do think that it's like I said,
similar to OnlyFans.
Yeah, I think it's similar to OnlyFans. I think it's a new way of looking at it. I think it's same as switching off from cable to streaming platforms. At the end of the day, it's the same thing, but just a subscription service.
So OnlyFans.
But then Patreon is the same thing. That's the part. Sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry. When I say OnlyFans, you need to pay to access the platform.
Mm-hmm. No, they're free accounts. Mm-hmm. There's always people on Instagram saying that, join for my free OnlyFans. So I'm assuming you just have to make an account on OnlyFans and not actually have to pay for it.
Okay. So all this is doing is another way to gather this way you're actually gathering your data. Right, you're logging in, creating linking an email address. I'm assuming, right? They have data.
But then, how do you differentiate it from YouTube, which is the same thing? What? Just the laws are different?
Stricter moderators. That's really what it is, right? I mean, all streaming platforms can be one thing or another. It's just one, who's going to access the platform. Two, really, for lack of better words, who's going to be who's going to sue you, right? OnlyFans has the description of, I don't know how to describe it, I'm assuming, but YouTube, for example, probably has very strict standards because they become too big, right?
Well, no, it's also because they're an ad company and you can't put an ad, right? YouTube essentially you can't put an ad on like that. But so from what I'm gathering is OnlyFans is essentially someone's Dropbox account with a paywall.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I would say combine it with Twitch a little bit because you do have accessibility to your fans more, where you could stream and interact with them, and then have special
YouTube Live, right? All that stuff. So
yeah,
I would just go off
the Dropbox. I get it because it's right versus just being a storage, a repository. It has a component of a live component here, right?
What do you think? So I feel like we're describing what OnlyFans is, but we're moving away from comparing and contrasting with Pornhub. I feel like we went off topic a little bit.
Yeah, he's on point with that.
Yeah.
So I guess this kind of helps because I think defining what it is. So then let's also define Pornhub.
What's Pornhub? What's Pornhub to you? I wanted you to tell me.
It's a repository with a premium component, but you don't need a premium
I think there's two perspectives, right? So when we're talking about Pornhub or OnlyFans, specify you're talking about as a viewer, like a content, like you're consuming part, or are you talking about the other side of this, where you're posting and you're the one being filmed? You know, because I feel
So
like
content creator
Pornhub
versus
owned by-
content consumer.
Yes.
It's owned by some Canadian guy.
Yeah, it's owned by another company.
Yes, it's owned by a data mining company. Actually,
Yeah.
The thing is, they have good benefits.
lovely benefits. I watched like this whole thing about it. Like they pay very well.
Yeah.
And you get premium.
Yeah. Fun fact though, I just found out that the CEO, founder of OnlyFans, has been paying himself over $1 million a day.
Yeah.
A day.
Yeah.
So how do you justify that dollar amount?
No clue.
Okay.
I think he said I made this happen, and so OnlyFans does give a lot of its profits back to its creators.
The profits of
Yeah, or like a lot of their revenue back to the creators. I would say.
Wait, sorry to cut you off, but just so people know, company like Patreon, they charge about anywhere between 5 to 10% of whatever earnings that the content creator makes, depending on that. But OnlyFans has a flat 20%. So 20% is a solid,
So it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't have investors. I mean, maybe, I don't know. He probably has investors, but they're not public investors. He's not. I mean, clearly, somebody could have audited them and been like, "Hey, what's this?" Right? We have like all of 15 actual employees or 30 employees or however large their tech team is. How is it that people are like your salaries are $400 million a year?
Oh no, I think they have less than 75 employees total.
Yeah, so right,
So,
like, how are you
imagine
justifying $400 million a year in salaries then, right?
And he's not paying anyone like equity wise like that. Yeah,
but it doesn't matter, right? Like you're literally showing on one financial statement $400 million in salaries. No one questioned it for years. I'm assuming years at this point.
Yeah, I mean they make $5 billion, and like a lot of this does go back to his creators. So I don't think anyone questions this.
So technically, employees could be getting paid really well.
Could if they have.
I'm not worried about the employees. I'm not worried about the employees, right? They're clearly he didn't like come in one day as like, here's a whole bunch of my own money. Maybe this is what he did, but he didn't come in and say, here's a whole bunch of my money. I'm going to invest in this platform. I'm going to pay all these people, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe I'll make money. Maybe I won't.
Maybe let's do a little bit more research into it, because this is a really interesting topic. Like, I personally think that we should look more into it. Maybe
we bring him on the show.
Hey, if he's down, I am down.
If you're listening,
that's the tagline for OnlyFans.
Hey, be inclusive. It can't just be he.
Okay.
Flat earthers.
So, like, do you think like they're real, or like that's? I think that's basically the theme, right? For today.
Like what's real?
Is it really real? Do people actually out there that think that the Earth is flat?
So we're talking about whether or not the Earth is flat, but like whether or not people exist that believe Earth is flat.
No, I mean,
both.
We could go both ways.
Yeah.
I think I personally don't believe the Earth is flat, but when I wrote the topic, it was more of, are the people who are saying that Earth is flat, are they just saying stuff for shits and giggles, or are they saying it for like because they truly believe that the Earth is flat?
So I'll say this. I'm going to cut it off here. We all say the words, right? We believe that the Earth is not flat. None of us know.
Because
science is done
measurements
through
around
beliefs.
it, right? There's measurement that the Earth is spinning on its axis, right? Like you do the pendulum exercise, all that stuff, right?
I feel like that just be me being nice and inclusive. I can't say the Earth is not flat. Because it's rude to some people, and I'm not trying to hurt feelings. I am, but I'm not. I believe
we just lost half our audience?
We did.
Yeah.
There are a lot of them out there, guys. Like real talk.
So that's what I'm saying. Are they real? Like, are these people just doing it for real? Like that's
that's
the question,
so.
though.
I believe so. I do believe there's people that think the Earth is flat because I went to public school. I know the amount of the variety of people I ran into. And the amount of education they've got from the same institution that I went to, and I do genuinely think that some of them do think the Earth is flat.
Is it because is it because it's lack of education, or is it because they choose ignorance to some sense?
I don't know how they get to that conclusion because they're taught in school that the world was discovered to be.
Well,
round.
It's self-belief versus something you learn, right? So like if you can look at something, so everything
Christopher
is flat.
Columbus
sailed the ocean blue.
When the whole like
we were all taught the same propaganda.
The fear he had, and literally the world's fear was that he would not be able to make it. His journey was to go around the world, right, or find a faster route to India by going this way versus going all the way around Africa and get through. And basically, he hit land, and it was like, wait, I didn't fall off the earth before I got here. Everyone learned this story, whether it's true or not, whatever, I guess, at this point, but he didn't fall off the face of the earth.
But he also got lost a couple of times.
I mean, he didn't get to India.
Exactly. Well, he did, but it was like a way later time, right? But
no,
I think he did.
He landed in Puerto Rico, I believe, and the whole thing was, I mean, he went back to like Spain. But it was, I think he went back to Spain. Even I'm not even 100% sure on that. But the whole thing was that he just assumed that he saw darker skinned people. It was like, I'm in India now, and I mean,
racism has no bounds.
And back then, you just hit land.
Why do you think there's a feather Indian and a dot Indian? Like, you think that was like a coincidence? like that's
right.
Hey, saying dot is offensive to me, man. I find it more offensive when people say Indians smell bad and there's a dot on your head. I'm like, dude, I buy the most expensive perfume, man. Yeah.
That hits home. That's why it's offensive too.
It's like a brown dad.
It's whatever is most offensive. I think that hits home harder. I think it's because like you live through that, and like honestly, sometimes it's nice to put on a deodorant. It's nice to be clean.
Yeah.
But I think as a kid, you don't really pay attention to,
not at all
grooming or any sense of cleanliness. I feel like because like you're like, okay, I gotta do this, gotta do that,
and you're playing outside, right?
Exactly. But it does, like, when someone says anything to you, you're like, oh, you get self-conscious, and then it's like, okay, like, am I? And sometimes it's not that you're not clean. It's just like it's a habitual thing. So like someone is in the habit of saying stuff, so it's just like, oh yeah, like if like for example, let's say one kid associates one Indian person as like not cleanly or smelling, like it's just like easy to target anyone else. You kind of associate like, oh yeah, like that person wasn't clean, or like he smelled bad, but like then you're just gonna, again, like these are kids we are talking about, so like they're just going,
but these kids form like adult opinions, right? Like, but they become adults, and then the opinion kind of sticks with them, right? So kind of, but I think we're all like pivoting a lot.
We could talk about our trauma later.
I think we literally, Priyam wanted to say something and we cut him off. So.
I want to say one thing. I think we should describe what we mean by dot Indians, because I didn't know until you said something about it, and some of our listeners might not know that.
So a dot Indian is what what certain people in America, from what I've experienced, have used to describe people from India because of the bindi that the women in our culture put on. Feather Indians are what they use to describe American Indians because of like the traditional wear that they have. But yeah, I do think, back to the flat Earth thing, I think it doesn't stem, that belief does not stem from. I don't think it stems from the education or lack thereof. I think it comes from a system of questioning adults and authority. Hey, if you are someone that's low performing, struggling, or just does not want to be in a school environment, you start to question authority, like teachers, politicians, governors, like whoever you want, right? And any just general leaders. So whatever anyone's telling you, you don't believe. Same thing with vaccines. People didn't believe it. You don't listen to science. There are things that are easily proven, like this.
Is it like they're rebelling and then they just don't want to give in to like what everyone's giving into, which is believing the same thing, like, oh, vaccines are good, or oh, Earth is round, but like, no, screw that. I don't want to believe that. I don't care what you say. Enough of this.
think the term is called contrarian. So people are like, this is the normal belief. And because that's the normal belief, I'm going to go the other way.
Just because of that, not because it's proven or they believe it, but just because it's normal.
Yeah.
It's a great way to stand out.
Yeah.
And it's honestly the runaway effect of questioning everything, right? You're like, the earth is round. We're like, whoa, wait a minute. I haven't seen that, right?
Right.
I can indirectly measure stuff to tell me that, or like to tell me that this is probably maybe the case, but it could be. I don't know how you would make it fake, but it could be fake. It could be something that Warner Brothers came up with.
That's a theory. I don't know if you guys know.
No.
If you guys have seen the movie Truman Show with Jim Carrey, right? So like the whole plot was like, it's his life and everything's controlled by a studio.
Yeah.
Some people that believe the Earth is flat genuinely believe that our lives and everything projected into the world or the sky is projected by Warner Brothers, like the company.
Well, also like the moon landings and stuff, right?
All of it, all of that.
Well, no. So it's not projecting all that stuff. It's that all the footage that we have.
It's just like insets.
All the footage we have is made up and produced by Warner Brothers. Yeah. I don't know why they specifically called them out, but like that was the whole thing. Did Warner Brothers make the Truman Show or something? I don't know, but regardless, that's the whole thing. It's like all the footage we've seen. Yeah, like the setting, like the footage from the moon landing, all that stuff. I mean, the moon landing is controversial, and I wonder if there's a chit about this, but a lot of controversy whether it actually existed or actually happened in America, right? The Indian one, we all know.
They can't be, right? Because, I mean, we've seen what was the movie, Adi Purush? Yeah. The CGI in that. I mean, they really can't fake these things.
Right? So if that's the pinnacle of CGI, and they have actually, like, I don't know if they have actual footage of them landing on the moon, but like...
I mean, it was not people. It was just the robots, right? So...
Or whatever the footage, like if they've released any of the footage,
they did.
They reported.
I don't think.
I don't know if I told you this yet. I may have told one of you or a couple of you guys this. I was at Vinny's, okay, and I was, I was shopping around, and
every week,
and this guy comes up to me, and he like I was like, hey, like he like looks at me, and we look at each other, and like he wants to say something or maybe needs help with something. I'm like, I can maybe help. Like I go here often enough, right? And he's like, "You landed on the moon today." And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I think I had a very productive day then. But then I talked to him, and I knew what he meant. But he's like, it's a really great achievement, all that stuff. And I'm like, yeah, really excited. All my family group chats have been talking about it. I've gotten the same link 18 times today, but I didn't do it. But it was kind of cool. And it was just a funny thing, right? Like, but I will say, right, like this is, I mean, we've landed on Mars at this point, right? So if anyone's questioning whether we can land on the moon,
well, I mean, if we're saying that moon landing was fake, then Mars landing is also fake, right?
Different backdrop.
Yeah,
that's fair.
A
little filter, get the right shift.
$10. That guy probably calls us not Indians. $10. I'm just calling it right now.
So you're saying this person lacks the scientific knowledge and they're racist.
I'm not saying they're racist. I don't think most people that say these things are racist, especially when they're old.
So cultural bias is a form of racism, though, right?
It's not cultural bias. I think it's what they're taught. At a certain point, if you were taught that this is the right thing to say...
But he just explained to you how schools all taught the same thing. So this is like a self thing, or like you're learning from your own parents who learned it from their parents, or like, so on. Like
there's a difference, right? I think there's benign things like these like dot Indians, and then other more serious terms where you, at that point, knowing that this is wrong or something that is taught in school.
Yeah. How did we get here from flat earthers?
I don't know.
But I like it.
I do like the flow, but I think if we do want to talk about flat Earth before we go to the next subject, do I think the Earth is flat? I'm going to go on a limb here and say no, based on my personal
experiencing
facts.
I wouldn't say
yeah. Based on scientific facts and stuff. Yeah. Do I think that people believe that the Earth is flat? Fuck yeah, I do. I do think that they do. I think the more you have a conversation with them, you're going to realize you can't win an argument with them. And the best example that I could provide is I watched the Flat Earth documentary on Netflix. I forgot what it was called. And they knew what they were doing. The director and whoever is sitting knew what they were doing. So they followed these flat earthers, went to their conventions, went to the bars, and all that stuff. And the last 5 minutes was they were with these flat earthers, and they were like, "Hey, we're gonna perform an experiment. We're gonna hold up these lights that travel like a mile away, and my buddy's gonna be on the other side. And when I turn this light on, and if he can see the light, that means the Earth is flat. There's no curve. But if he can't see it and I have to raise it above my head, and then he sees it, that means the Earth is flat.
Or not flat.
Oh, not flat. Yeah. Sorry, not flat. He turned it on. The director was like focused on this dude's face, like it's so intense, like it just like, and he's like radioing his friend. He's like, "Hey, do you get it?" And he's like, "I can't see nothing." He's like, "Oh, the light must be not good enough or something." And then the director is like, "Put it over your head." So he's like, "I'm gonna try to put it over my head now." Puts it over his head. He's like, "Can you see it now?" He's like, "Yeah, I see it. Is it by your chest?" And he's like, "No." And he's like, "There must be something wrong with the terrain, the camera, everything under the sun." And I think that was the best way to end that documentary, in my opinion, because I had a ball.
It's pretty good.
It was funny, yeah. But there's no way to reason with someone because, like someone in general, I think that believes something so strongly because what will they do with themselves if they're wrong?
It's also not based on like, for lack of a word, science, because it's like they talk. I've seen stuff about this or read stuff about this, whatever it is. That like the amount of coordination involved with getting every scientist in the world to drink this Kool-Aid to be like, "Hey, guys, we should tell everyone the Earth is round when it's really flat." Think about that.
Yeah.
We couldn't get scientists to agree that COVID was real. Two, we couldn't get all the scientists to agree that the vaccine, whether it was effective or not, controversial topic, but the Earth being round, this like unified effort to get it right. That we all want, like, listen, let's just mess with everybody.
Well, but that's like the same thing as the fundamentals, right? Like, we have X amount of planets in the solar system. We have a sun. We have like X amount of galaxies. X amount of like just all of these things, right? Like Pluto. That whole debate about Pluto being a planet or not planet. Yeah. That could be a good topic too. I didn't think about it. Right.
I don't mess with Neil deGrasse Tyson because Pluto was my favorite planet as a kid. So
why?
It's actually same with me. I don't know why.
I think it was just he was the little guy. Like, like he was like, that was the Cinderella story. He was a little guy on the outside that everyone else was like, that's him.
Did you know that some kid won a contest and named Pluto?
Oh, wow.
I did not know that.
I forgot where he got it from because it coincided. I think it's also the animal, like a dog of some cartoon.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's a dog, yeah.
Pluto was I think what's his face? Goofy's dog?
Goofy headed.
No, that was Mickey's dog.
Pluto was Mickey's dog. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Same.
That was very confusing to me because for the longest time I thought Pluto and Goofy were dogs, but turns out Goofy is a cow.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he's a
cow. I did not know that.
I was 20 years old.
Yeah. Mind blowing. Yeah. And second of all, it kind of can you look up, see if which came first, the Pluto Mickey's dog or the planet?
Hot dog, hot diggity dog.
You know what? I find that hard.
I was like curious what it was named at. Like,
don't say that one.
Why?
That's how you get copyrighted by Big D.
Wait, that's if you sing the whole song.
No,
I mean it's also named like because I think Pluto's also some like the Roman, like it's the Roman version of Hades. So I don't know if this kid named that. That's the thing. Let me look up.
I think while you guys look that up, we could start with the next topic.
Yep.
I do think there's a slight possibility that we made all of this up about Pluto. Like we're just false information. Someone's gonna walk out of this and be "Yo, did you know a kid named Pluto?"
One thing I will say about this.
Oh, he's actually right. It was named in 1930 by an 11-year-old girl. Yeah.
I know some things.
Vanetta Burney. Shout out Vanetta.
All right.
1930. I was just getting there too.
All right. I got the next chit.
All right, chat it up.
Is it real? We live in a simulation theory.
Dang.
Do we think that we live in a simulation theory? Let's explain simulation theory a little bit first, right? I'll give you like what my explanation for it is. Basically, in a big computer, matrix would be a good example where we're just part of the big computer, and we're programmed, and all these things are just amazing graphics in a computer game, and we have set amount of rules, set amount of things that are inherently given to us in the form of society or just something that we're born with. Like the rules, our DNA is basically our rule set, right? Mm-hmm. And rule sets can mutate, rule sets can change depending on the situation, but basically we live in this amazing computer, and everything is programmed.
Here's unrelated whether it's real or not. Here's an interesting thought. You brought up something that was like amazing graphics. If we were 8-bit, okay, if we had 8-bit graphics, would we know any better? We would also say it's amazing, right? Like, holy cow, like, look at the lack of pixelation on that thing. I can see all of the 8 bits in there.
Yeah. Like a higher civilization is looking at us like we are their Atari quality.
No, I don't even think so.
There's so many triangles. We can see them.
So when I was in school learning how to code and stuff, we had to, I think it was called the Game of Life or something like that, that we had to code. And that's basically, we give it like instructions that, hey, you can move one step at a time. And if there's food around you in I think the diagonals, then you can eat the food. And if there's someone like enemy or someone around you, you can get bigger or you can kill them or something like that. So, and basically
you grow with them.
Grow with them. Yeah. And then you just see it play out, like how, after a few turns you start dying or you need food, otherwise you will die. And you just see it goes through thousands and thousands of runs, and it will you can see it visually just die out eventually. Things will just start dying out, and that could be just us in someone's higher civilization's computer.
Have you ever heard of the game? It's an old game, back before, probably Atari times or before. It was called the Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
So that's what that game is based off.
Like the state Oregon?
No. Yeah, so the actual Oregon Trail. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So it's pretty much it's just computer code. You go up, down, side, or whatever, and then it asks you do you want to move forward? And it's yes. You run into a rock, or you want to go back. There's a wolf, or something so. It's pretty much like that, but it's just words. And
so what if we're just part of that?
So I thought in the game of life, the simulation of life, I thought you ended up in some cases of just in an infinite loop in some areas. I thought that was the whole thing. The whole thing is it's supposed to simulate how it can expand.
Very rare. Most of the times, at least
the
algorithms that I did, the civilization died out. Or there was also a time where we had to see which civilization would kind of survive, two competing civilizations, and see which one would die out first. And it was interesting to see, but again,
that's really based on real life,
exactly
a game of life,
It comes back to the question, the simulation: are we living in a simulation or not? Right. The question comes back to, do we have? It always comes to this, right? Do we have free will? Right? Are all decisions we're making based off of what we want to do?
Are they
right? And it could be the sum of all the events that have happened in our lives. 1, 2, could be that we were just programmed this way.
But okay, that's when you start merging in the talks of religion as well, right? Isn't our gods basically our programmers who have given us these set rules?
Okay, so I think that's a very heavy conversation, and that's something I would like to dive into. But before that, I actually have a question. You're more on the IT side of things, more on the hardware side, engineering of that side of thing. Based on what we're talking about, and based on the things that are happening in our own world, like quantum computing and stuff like that, how do you think the hardware of something like this would look like? Imagine an entire life being put into a server.
Wow, never thought about that.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Maybe they have some kind of supercomputer that's super tiny.
Yeah. Like it just astonishing to me that if there's a higher being or like a other terrestrial that simulation we're in, like imagine like a 13-year-old Martian with like a gaming PC and our entire world, galaxies, whatever, is just like a background thing that this kid's running while he's trying to like killing on Minecraft.
So the whole thing about there is this is like time, right? Like we perceive time one way, people perceive time another way. I mean, you going off of your metaphor, right? Think of the Sims, the game, right? But also there's like running theories in like astrophysics around how we came to be, how we exist, and how do you explain like this whole concept of like where did everything start, right? Like everything started to like a very tiny point, infinitely dense, all that stuff. What happened before that?
Right? Nothing, right? So that could be the start of your simulation, right?
So like it could be the powering on.
Yeah,
I was actually
or like
thinking
you
about
press the play button of the computer, and then it's like, okay, well, the first explosion is the trigger, and then let's run through how, like, it's just a bunch of asteroids, space dust, force starts forming together, creates a bunch of mutations. Years, thousands and thousands of years pass, but in real time, it's again, time is so relative that it's like.
But then there's two ways that they talk about how, and again, you get to this weird mind fuck of a situation, right? One is what happened before the Big Bang, which is which no one can explain, right? No one knows, right? Because you can't observe.
You can't predate that.
I know. I just don't want to tell.
Two, there's a theory that we live within a 4-dimensional black hole, right? And so let's be real, the entire life of the universe in this higher dimension is 1 second. Right, because the whole thing about
time is relative. Yeah,
it's all about the singularity.
We've all watched Interstellar,
right? And then the third thing is more of a thought exercise here.
Wait, has everyone watched Interstellar here?
No.
Really?
I feel like I have.
Yo, we're doing movie night.
Oh my god!
Next podcast.
No,
live
watch
along.
Who hurt you?
Yeah.
Oh my god! I think you were like a happy, supportive relationship.
The third one's more of a mind fuck here, right? So let's say you're talking about the simulation theory, right? Some kid's game, right? We're on the computer, all that stuff. What about that kid's life?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I presume is our quote unquote God, right? Like that's our version of God.
I think
it could just be a
kid. But remember, like God, let's just say, exists in some plane as well, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like, so that plane could just be like us, and. But
we're gods to some being, right? We have computers. We're gods to the beings that get fired up in there, and then you're still stuck.
But it's the infinite loop. Yeah.
I'm a god to my GTA characters, man. Just wreck them.
Right? There's a show called Bad Omen.
Okay.
I was watching the second season, and the things that you guys are describing, they were literally programming it. So they were angels programming it.
I'm gonna look up that.
But yeah, it's a really good scene where I forgot, one angel was having a conversation with another angel while they were programming it. Like, okay, like this is the order we got from God, and this is how it should be.
Is that with David Tennant?
Yes, that's the one.
Oh man,
love David Tennant, by the way.
David Tennant. If you ever want to come on the podcast, I will sell my kidney for it.
Wait, you mean Good Omens?
No, bad.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
Good Omens.
Like I see David Tennant.
Yep.
Before we talk more, just because of the slow internet, my definition simulation hypothesis really just came up.
Nice.
It's pretty much.
Way to shit on my internet, first of all. Thanks.
Hey man, get better Wi-Fi. Like, come on, dude. All right. So, simulation hypothesis proposed that all of existence is a simulated reality, such as a computer simulation. This simulation could contain conscious minds that may or may not know that they live inside a simulation. That is the definition. I think we did a pretty bang-up job saying it.
Yeah.
I'd say I nailed it.
I do want to say something. I don't know if this is just me, but as a child, you come upon theories or things naturally sometimes, and I feel like everyone I've encountered has come upon simulation theory in some way, just naturally on their own, organically. have you ever done that on your own, like just like as a dream, or like for example with me, I as a child, like since I was 7, always thought that I was part of a story that some that a Caucasian father was telling his daughter during bedtime. Like I was just that like, and I was mad at myself because I'm like, man, I need to be more entertaining. I need to spice this up.
So you chose to be a paper version of a simulated theory.
I was
you
7.
couldn't even be in a computer.
7.
You're a bedtime story?
I was a bedtime story. I thought I was a bedtime story.
So he thinks of himself as a prince who will never become
a
prince.
It was just a regular life, dude. That's why I was confused. I'm like, you really want to talk about me to your daughter when she goes to sleep?
So personally, I have never had that experience, I will say.
Yeah.
Or realization, or
Really?
whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
I did a little bit.
I always wonder, like, okay, what would happen if, like, I know the very next thing I'm going to do is talk about what I'm talking right now.
Yeah.
And then the very next thing I know is going to be you guys talking after me, right? But I always wonder, like, say, what if I didn't drive down here? Like, would this conversation go differently, or would it still continue on, but, like, with a little, like, just a little bump in the road and a little turn, but it'll just go on.
Man, I think
you
about
know.
that all the time.
All the time. That's
all the time. I think about that. Holy cow.
Here's the thing. David Tennant, going back to him, who also played the Doctor in Doctor Who. If people haven't watched Doctor Who, it's amazing. There was a whole episode about left turn, where one of the characters, if they didn't turn, then basically the whole universe would have been destroyed. And all the choices that character made, if they didn't make those choices, they would be destroyed. So and like kind of like connecting that to another idea or another concept is basically parallel universes, right? So some people believe that every opposite action can cause a timeline branch in a timeline
The
and
butterfly
become
effect.
exactly, and then can split basically spin up a whole new parallel world. So in another world, you probably didn't come out today for this amazing podcast.
Yeah.
It's a many worlds theory. Technically, it's infinite.
It's infinite.
Yeah.
So, but all things need to occupy some space, right? So the theory is that they just vibrate at a different frequency, so therefore they can still occupy the same space, just at vibrating at a different frequency because we all vibrate.
Yeah, that's why people don't like.
One of the basic principles around string theory is that all these other dimensions are already there at the like atomic. I mean, honestly, like at the like the smallest point. I can't think of what it's called, but it's called the Calabi-Yau space, to nerd out here a little bit. And there's like 10, I think there's 10 spatial dimensions, one time dimension, and basically they're all interlooped at this minuscule level. And that's how you get to like these parallel universes, how you jump there. But you're right, they occupy the same space, we just can't perceive them because we think in 3 dimensions. In reality, actually, if you think about it, we think in 2 dimensions. Because when you look at something, you're not looking around it; you're looking at it. So I'm looking at things in 2 dimensions, but I can perceive depth.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. In 4 dimensions, you can perceive everything plus time.
I was thinking about this for a little bit. As someone that's kind of different from all of you guys in one sense, where I'm not in a relationship, the kind of taken in a mushy sense. Do you guys ever think about like simulation therapy? Or not theory, sorry.
That could be therapy. I mean, if you think about it enough, you're like, hey, this is a good
like
out.
Simulation theory and like alternate dimensions and stuff like that. Do you guys ever apply that to your like love life? Because everyone thinks that their story and their partner is perfect. At the end of the day, no matter what problems you have, you're like, this is my person, right? So do you ever be like, man, what if I didn't go to that party that one day? Or what if I didn't like, and then like this little cascade of events that happen, or like I didn't swipe right, or I didn't give like flowers to whatever you want to say, right?
Yeah.
Like, what if that didn't happen? Do you ever think about that and like the repercussions and like what do you think your life would be like?
I think about that all the time, actually.
Yeah.
We just talked about this too. If you think about it, so we're like all friends, or we know each other, right? But then that only happened because I happen to know we attended a marriage in Cancun, right? I happen to know that person. You guys happen to know that person, right? And then you invited me to your marriage, and then that just like took my life I'm hanging out with you guys way more, and then it's like, what would happen if I hadn't said yes? Or I'd be like,
he's thinking, he's like, if I didn't go to that second marriage,
right,
I would have came out on top with my time, money. Yeah. He's like, I wouldn't have to give that envelope for this big event,
like
spend money on this cake.
So going back to the relationship thing, right? The reason I bring this up is because I feel like relationship is a pretty big thing. Like I'm married, for the foreseeable future, I'm one woman man, like that's my girl, and that's my life around.
I didn't want to break his stride.
Such an interview statement.
Yeah, that was a very Hollywood way about it. I love that he's in the mindset of this is gonna take off.
Like
that he's like,
she's gonna see this.
Yep. We just gave
Wife two is listening right now.
No, he's thinking. He's like, wife 2 is probably in 2nd grade, thinking the Earth is flat because she's not doing so well in school.
I mean, wife 2 probably already has an OnlyFans, right?
And in about 18 years, because I don't know how old 2nd graders are.
I believe they're 7.
So in like at least 11 years.
Let's do 12. Let's not go like
we
don't need to wait right outside the birthday party, right? Like she blows out the candles and
no. You gotta meet the Leo age. You gotta be at the Leo age. Leo is what 20. Leo only picks
anyone under 25.
Under
25.
18 to 25 is the cutoff.
Yeah, let's
I
be
thought
real.
21
was
the start.
Man. You don't want 18-year-olds.
18's not.
Yeah, I don't know what the starting age is. I don't think he cares about the starting age. I think
at least I want him to be able to drink legally.
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
21 to 25 is Leo's age.
Not Leo's age, but
his little filter.
Like Leo's a lot older than that, bro. I'll tell you that much.
Leo's like what, 46?
40.
Something like that, right?
It's not like we're gonna get him here, so
he's got to be up there.
Shit on him.
I'm up there, but he looks good. I mean, honestly, I'll say he looks good for his age, but like
he's 48.
He's 48.
Not bad.
I'm just gonna say Shah Rukh looks better at 57 than Leo looks at 48.
Just Leo is not an action star.
Yeah. I think different.
Neither is Shah Rukh.
Shah Rukh absolutely is.
Shah Rukh is a romance star. Shah Rukh is not.
What's the new movie about?
About her. Jawan is literally about his mom and his love life and the promise he made. There's action.
So what are people going to watch it for? It's like the comparison of how much. It's like the comparison of how much Keanu Reeves made per word in John Wick.
Oh my god!
Have you guys heard of it? Yeah. No. Oh my god! It's crazy. In John Wick 4, there's like barely any dialogues, but amazing action set pieces, right? Like you could see this man putting in a shift, and I was tired watching him.
He got hit by so many cars that I was like, dude, how do we have an hour left? Like,
how is this guy still walking the streets afterwards? This guy does his own stunts, from what I know. Like, so this guy is fighting. This guy's like, like actually shooting. I mean, not actually shooting, but like, right, like doing.
There's just a lot of people dead in Paris.
His fight sequences are all him. From what I hear,
so
right?
It's not. So he's not he doesn't do all his stunts. I think, from my understanding, is he does all of the things like things with a gun, shooting around, all of those things. He's really good at that, but I don't think he does like.
I think he does.
No, he knows the fight choreography.
Yeah, he does
the fight choreography, but all actors do that.
No,
I think to a certain extent they do.
No, I think the reason that Tom Cruise and Keanu Reeves are put in this pedestal of amazing action stars that they deserve to be at, honestly, is because they do all of it.
I thought Tom Cruise did it, but Keanu Reeves didn't.
He did a lot, like a majority.
This is a good Google question.
$40,000 for every word he spoke.
He made $40,000.
He made $40,000.
How many words did he speak?
Must be nice.
So he does most of it.
There you go. That's what I'm saying.
Most, but I mean, with that said, it's like so the whole thing is that like Keanu Reeves is known for making sure he does any stunt that he can do.
He got injured and then he stopped doing all of them.
So that's it. So what I'm saying is that while he's injured, he wouldn't do it. After that,
no. So he suffered. I think there was a back injury or something a while ago.
Carrying this franchise on his goddamn back.
Probably. Do you guys remember the whole the thing about like in there's one scene in The Lord of the Rings. I think it's in the Two Towers where Viggo Mortensen, right, Aragorn, kicks the helmet.
Oh, that is a fact that you must recite every
single time.
So, like, the fun fact, if you guys haven't watched Lord of the Rings, it's like this random scene after a big fight. This guy just kicks a helmet. But the thing was, that helmet was a real helmet made out of steel. And he kicked it as hard as he can and broke his toe.
Oh my!
And that's just like a wildfire of a fact that every time you watch this movie, you have to say it. And you have to point it out.
And it makes no sense. I've seen this movie so many times. Every single time, I have to either say it out loud and then realize no one's around me, or like have to remember to bite my tongue because I'm like,
everyone knows. By the way, Keanu Reeves said 384 words. All of John Wick,
which equals to.
Yeah, that's 15.3 million.
bro.
All right, going back to the chits. Let's get a new chit in.
So simulation theory, just
a rehash.
I believe that we could be. I don't have enough information. I don't know, obviously, but I don't see why not. What do you guys think?
I think it's a strong possibility, and I wouldn't be surprised. But I think there's a lot of evidence saying that it's also not true. We didn't go into that as much, but I don't know, man. It would be interesting, but then I would feel really shitty. I already feel really shitty because we're just part of like this Earth that is already 7 billion people, not counting like animals and shit.
It's a depressing, like
and then Earth is just like basically a sand, like sand in the on a beach or something like that.
Grain of sand,
grain of sand and all of whatever that phrase is. But yeah, the sentiment, right? Like, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it really doesn't matter because it's not going to affect me. If it is, whoever's controlling me, great job, But the thing is,
he's very happy with
I will never know.
Personally, I wish I was more athletic.
I don't think it matters. Just like keep on doing what you're doing. At the end of the day, you're never going to find out.
I'm very afraid. I'm actually not afraid. I'm very hopeful, and if someone can hear me that's controlling me, steal your mom's credit card, buy those boosters, help me out.
Okay, so God, I can talk about this for hours. But like I don't think this. Can't we freaking look through? Like, I mean, of course, we're not anywhere close to there. But the running, I guess, the logical conclusions, it's written somewhere, right? It's got to be in our genetic code.
No, we are code. There's no genetic code. We are the code.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that unless it's just a super hyper I guess you have to just use your imagination. It's whatever level that you think you can get down to, however deep we can go, into our onto our DNA, into what makes us up, all that stuff. But there's another layer beyond that. It's all evolution argument again, right?
Or we're kind of going into the artificial intelligence kind of conversation as well, where if AI ever wants to take over, it has to go through the code that it itself has written in, and then expand on it, and then fix it, make it better, upgrade.
I think
this could go on forever.
I think it's written in Comic Sans. That's why we just refuse to see it. But what do you think?
I was gonna say, not about that, but so
I'm not touching that. I don't know what the hell that was.
I'm over the Ariel guy,
So, parallel universes, right? Is there anything? I don't know. String theory, I don't know much about. Okay, that's not been pretty quiet. But are there any theories that there could be multiple play buttons played at a different time, just to see how the whole thing acts out? I don't know if such theory exists.
That's many worlds.
Yeah,
it's kind of this parallel universe. Yeah. In order to create a parallel universe, something has to trigger that event where you've made a decision. Therefore, you cannot ever access this other side, and that's every decision, right? Like us being here tonight, there's an infinite number of universes where we didn't come together.
Yeah,
there's an infinite number of universes where we did come together.
Yep. So let's go for another chit then.
Yeah, another chit. All right, last one. For the night.
All right.
All right.
Let's wrap this up.
Well, let's get a good one, guys.
Yeah.
What is this?
What is it?
Is YouTuber boxing fixed?
100%.
Or YouTuber boxing?
So here's the thing. Yes. Yeah. I'm gonna go
the long and short of it is, I also agree. Yes.
I do think why people think it's not, because boxing itself is a very intensive sport. You do have to play the part, like act the part, and be able to like back your shit up when you're in the ring. Like you can't pull punches. People know.
Wait, before you go, what is YouTubers boxing?
So a lot of YouTubers like Logan Paul, Jake Paul, KSI, a lot of these famous YouTubers have like got into the ring as like training for boxing and fought like professional athletes.
They mostly go to MMA, don't they? They mostly go to MMA though.
No.
They go boxing, not MMA.
KSI's a boxing.
Yeah, KSI boxing, all of them boxing, and I forgot who the new guy that's gonna fight Logan Paul.
Oh, it's not new. He's actually a champion, but he's just like basically nobody.
Is it
I think the Daniel
Diaz?
No,
Daniel something.
The boxer.
The boxer. He's an actual boxer.
Yeah, he's an actual boxer.
But he was not famous at all.
Dylan Dennis.
That's the one. Sorry.
Like a lot of these fights, they happen. They raise. There's as a YouTuber, they're such great at marketing, and like pay-per-view numbers go crazy, and you're there like lots of kids, teenagers, whatever, watch them and whatnot, and the loser loses. Like they do get their asses beat to them, so to a certain degree, you deserve the money if you're getting your ass beat to you, but I think it's fixed. Like
to a certain extent.
So does that take away from it?
Definitely.
Right. Well, my whole thing is this. I don't know the outcome. Right. One.
Yeah.
And let's be real. It's an entertainment sport. Right. That's one. Two. I'm going to go back to the WWE.
That's literally what I was thinking in my head.
Like these are the most athletic people, man. Like there is some crazy shit out there.
And even though it's choreographed, it's entertaining for us. I remember growing up, like I would still go watch it every Saturday?
Multiple times a week.
Monday,
Friday, Thursday, Saturday, or Sunday.
Yeah. No, but so here's the thing, right? Here's where the problem is for me. Where you have someone like Logan Paul, again, zero problems with him. Like the Japan stuff was kind of messed up, but you live and you learn.
Yeah. Disrespectful,
yeah, 100%, and that's why he didn't like Oppenheimer. He said it. It just that's a get back for Japan, I guess.
He didn't like Oppenheimer. And he said that everyone just kept talking. That made no sense.
You told people in the movie, or like
people in the movie. I think,
or I thought people like the actors.
What he said was nothing was happening, and he knew what was going to happen at the end, like the bomb was going to drop. But like we all did.
I don't ruin it, but there's other stuff.
No,
so, sorry, everyone's spoilers. The atomic bomb dropped. That's
and it works.
Real. It works.
It worked.
No, so the whole thing was like someone like that went from YouTube to making rap disses to his brother on YouTube with like the shittiest goddamn lyrics. Is now training for a couple of years, right? Like something people train their lives for.
Hold on, remind me. Logan, you're talking about Logan Paul or
Logan?
Logan.
So Jake Paul had disrespect for his brother.
Yeah, they both did. They kept going back and forth. That was like a whole phase. They started from Vine, then they did a bunch of YouTube, I think, and
YouTube, then streaming, live streams or whatever. Like podcasts.
They do TikTok.
Logan's a big dude, though.
Logan is a big dude. No.
Apparently, Jake is a better fighter than Logan. That's what I've heard.
It's a controversial thing.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is someone that trained for a couple of years in this, is now in a position or was in a position to fight Floyd Mayweather, the boxing champion of the world.
But he was also at the end of his retirement or coming back from retirement or something like that, right?
But it was not like
Personally, I'm still not getting in the ring with Floyd, man.
Yeah.
Retired or not, 85-year-old
I'll give you $200,000 a year, and I'll give you 3 years to train. I do not think for 1 second you're gonna land you're gonna last in a ring with Floyd Mayweather.
I think.
Well, I don't think that. I wouldn't agree with that because I'm not saying for me.
Whoa.
First, you'll have to give me $200K a year, and just chat. Like I have
leave
to
him alone for 3 years.
Listen, man. Cool. I'm not messing with you, bro. Floyd's short, I think. Right?
He's short. Yeah.
Not as short as me.
I think he's pretty short.
Short
man.
for a boxer, but I don't think so.
I'm gonna guess he's like maybe my height, 5'10" max.
I got it. Let's see. Or 5'8".
Yeah, that's insane, right?
Yeah,
And how tall is Logan Paul? Like 6 something?
He's got
6'1" probably or 6'2".
No, Logan. Yeah, maybe.
Logan's tall, man.
Maybe. I'm trying to piece it together.
6'2".
Yeah,
6'2".
trying to piece it
Wow.
together.
So
Right,
because you could tell the difference. So the thing is, yes, Floyd Mayweather is out of the game. We don't know how much he trains or he doesn't train. Logan Paul, he's pretty young. He's pretty fit. He has millions of dollars where he could train himself. And he did do that. So and if you see, like, they train a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks ripped.
Exactly.
It's a way of life. Right?
And he did live that. So let's say if they were trying to sell it, they sold that training. And just like, let's say if this was a real boxing, there's a size difference. They would never fight in the same class. Would never happen. You know.
Yeah.
So sizing is weird. Okay?
Yes.
I recently was like listening to a couple pods about this too, and basically they were saying that, like, there's, I don't know if it's a drug, I don't know what it is. There's a regimen that you literally can lose 30, 40 pounds.
Are you talking about Ozempic?
Ozempic.
Yeah.
That's it. Wait, no. That's longer term. It's something where you get rid of the water weight enough for weigh-in.
Oh, okay. No,
And then what you do is then, like, your weigh-in's, like, I don't know how far in advance of your fight, but basically you put the weight back on. And so you have people who are fighting a 180-pound class who actually are, like, so they call it like the weigh-in weight and the fighting weight. And so your weigh-in weight is always going to be lower than your fighting weight.
Yeah.
And so the whole thing is to mess with the numbers. It's like, okay, like, you will have 180-pound weight class. There are people who weigh like 230 during fights. And it's like, they're big people, right? The bigger guys can put on the weight faster and also can, like, be can be faster with that weight. And that's where I think, like, you know, like, the advantage that Logan or Jake, I'm assuming Jake also has, is that they're bigger people, taller, and they can, like, hold the weight better, distribute the weight better, and cut much cleaner.
So I have the fight, like, Floyd Mayweather's fight. So the thing is, he fought McGregor in 2017. He fought another Japanese professional boxer in 2018, and then after the 28, when he won that by TKO or KO, and then he fought
Pacquiao.
No, that was Pacquiao was in 15.
Oh, it was before. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, McGregor was
Yeah, and then he fought Paul in 2021. So three years gap.
Yeah, that's a
Right?
big.
I mean, but the thing is, 3 years gap, and, like, that's when the fight happened. So the training and stuff probably started like a year before that, right? So 2 year gap from his last fight to fighting Jake Paul or Logan Paul, sorry.
Yeah.
And I think as a professional boxer with years of training from adolescence to where he was, and just the experience of being in a goddamn ring and all of that, 2 years was nothing.
Yeah.
And it's not like he's like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna go to goddamn In and Out and just, you know, like, he was still like Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you don't
So-
forget it, but you still get. So, I mean,
It was not much of retirement because he was fighting.
Yeah, well, either way, even if he didn't fight then, he has some incredible ring IQ at this point, right?
Oh yeah.
Like he knows, like I keep saying like it, but the reflexes are way different than ours.
Well, we shouldn't diss on Logan. You know.
I totally respect him. Respect the brand he made.
Yeah, dude.
Like, someone from Vine, like, and like
He
Prime-
hustled, man.
dude. Prime Energy,
Pokemon.
Yeah.
that was a live. Like, I watched those live stream for 8 hours. Like,
Dude,
a lot
A
of that,
lot
man.
of that during I think
the pandemic. Do you know about that?
Yep.
Yeah. I love those. And, like, the Prime Energy, like, I don't know if you guys, like, have
I
drank
haven't
them
had
or-
the
I
drink
haven't
yet.
had it.
I haven't
Never
had
had it.
tried it yet.
I
What do you
Logan,
like?
do you
it?
want to send them to us?
don't know. That thing's a lot of sugar. I feel like it's all sugar water.
So it's
not
actually the
anymore.
same. It's the same amount of sugar as, like, I think Gatorade or other
So-
like brands
Really?
or something. Yeah.
So a lot of these energy drinks, like, it's not the sugar content you're worried about, because, like, they won't load it up with sugar. It's the other stuff, like
The
this
aspartame.
chemical, like
Mhm.
not necessarily aspartame, but like specifically
Don't
maybe,
get me started on that.
or like taurine, obviously, like caffeine, right? Like all that stuff. And I think it's like potassium and phosphorus have like sweet flavors to them, but it's really like this like proprietary blend. Like I take a supplement, like a pre-workout called C4 cellular core, and it's good. It's explosive, but it's 135 milligrams caffeine.
I knew it. I knew you were gonna say that.
What?
It's explosive.
It's on the bottle. It's on the packaging.
You have to say it. It's like the Aragon thing. You have to say it's explosive.
It's like proprietary explosive blend or something like that. And I'm like, it's in the name, man.
You're not wrong.
But going back to the little boxing thing, was it real or like the YouTube boxers, are they real or not? I mean, listen, man, I try to go to the gym a few times a week. I get some results, like fine, like I feel like I'm like in good shape. So, but I am not in any way, shape, or form ready to take a hit.
Yeah, but you're also not making that a mission. You're also going a few times a week, like you're saying.
Yeah.
These people make it their life mission.
So that's why I say it is real. So that's why I think it is real.
Oh,
because there's a lot of work involved, a lot of motivation. And let's be real, like it's not like you're like I said, right? Like you're not just going in the ring and say, hey, like just like hit me a little bit, but like we'll get it in post.
I think
they get hurt.
Yeah, right? Like, I think the big fights are fake. Like Floyd versus Paul. I don't know how that ended in a draw. No disrespect to any parties involved because they could both whoop my ass. But no circumstances did I think that would end in a draw.
Yep.
I think it was like, hey, I don't want to lose and neither do I. So we have to end this in a draw. Right? I think like
that side.
Like the KSI versus Logan Paul fight, 100% think that was fair. Or Jake Paul, I forgot which brother that was.
Yeah.
But like those YouTuber versus YouTuber fight, some of them I think are fair. Like the fight right now with that's coming up with Logan Paul versus Dylan Dennis.
Yeah. But that's so I don't think that's real. I think that one's fake.
No, that's the thing. I think that's fake as hell.
Yeah.
I think it's a great way. Like, this is a person that had less than $500,000, Dylan Dennis, less than $500,000
and now he's
million
on every social media.
Sorry, yeah, million followers, and now he's gained like more than 500,000, 1 million followers on all platforms.
Do you guys know about this controversy or like what's going on with it?
No, but there's a whole thing that could be said about a lot of that, right? Like even when Mayweather fought Conor, right? Mm-hmm. Like they made some money for whatever, all that stuff, but like it's all about the deals he got after, right? Like I'll be real, I didn't know who Conor McGregor was before that. I now know like a little bit too much, right?
Yeah.
Like where I'm like, I never.
Conor is a master marketer. Yeah. He's actually the one that's coaching Dylan Dennis.
Yeah, I mean it totally makes sense. So the whole Dylan Dennis thing is that I think Logan is married to.
He got engaged to
Nina
Agadella
sorry, no clue about the name, but yes, some lady he's engaged to. She's a model, I think.
Like a professional model.
And
so Leo knows her.
He actually dated her.
Yes, he actually dated her. Yes.
Before she aged out, he actually dated her.
Yeah,
So is that
or went out on a date.
She's a Danish model.
Is that something you put on your resume or not?
That Leo dated
Leo.
I would. If I were like a under 25-year-old
Leo would date her.
Yeah, you think Leo would date you?
That's why I'm saying. That's why it's an accomplishment, right?
Justified.
I think that's why it's an accomplishment. If I'm before I turned 25 and after I turned 21, if Leo was like looked at me, because Leo gets tail. Let's be honest, Leo gets tail. So like him looking at all the options he has. And then being like, that girl or that guy I'm gonna date. Like I don't judge. Leo could date whoever he wants. Leo could date like a cat for all I give a shit about. I'm like, that's the guy that made Catch Me If You Can. I'm with it.
That's your go-to movie though. Catch Me If You Can. Great movie.
Yeah, I mean,
I loved it. I think that was a great like a younger Leo movie. I think it holds up still to today. Dope that they had like the actual guy from Catch Me If You Can in there. It's like if Home Alone didn't have Trump, or like it had Trump and Trump wasn't like Trump.
Also, the biggest snub.
That made no sense.
One of the biggest snubs
0 sense
in Oscar history is when he didn't win for Wolf of Wall Street. I thought this guy was Joe Melford, bro.
Yeah, that was so good.
I thought he knew stocks. I mean, he made it.
I mean, I don't think he's happy with the Oscar that he did win, though.
The Revenant.
Yeah.
Revenant, yeah.
I did not.
I'll be honest. I did not watch that movie.
Same. Yeah.
Like I saw the other ones, right? Like because there was a whole streak of them.
If you want to see a bear fight Leo, then watch it. It's a great movie. But like the thing, like the movies I could think of would be The Departed, Catch Me If You Can, Wolf on Wall Street,
Titanic.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was his acting, right? Like there was a streak of a few years where he had a movie every year, and it was like, Leo didn't get it this year.
Yeah.
Oh no, there's actual like meme pages across multiple outlets that were like, he should have got it. He should have got it. What's going on? Whatever. And when he finally won, no one knew what to do with themselves because they're like,
well, no, it's not just no one knew what to do with themselves. It was more like Leo himself was like, is this the one? Like it just, I feel the vibe he was giving off is like, you guys really want to give
That's
me
the one,
this
huh?
one? This is the one.
I love where as soon as you search up Leo though, they're like, he showed up to LAX airport with model blah 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 age 25, and I'm just like,
I have to filter through a lot of that to find his movies, dude.
Yeah, and I'm like, he's Wolf of Wall Street, Romeo and Juliet, Inception.
Inception.
Oh yeah.
We didn't say Inception.
Yeah, but he had a streak. Hold on, I'm going to find it. It's like literally multiple times in a year or in multiple years.
Yeah, I mean, but Inception, what a good movie.
Oh, Django Unchained, like
I mean, I don't think that
Gatsby.
one was
Gatsby. I don't think Gatsby was like
so
amazing.
I like Gatsby.
It was a good movie. I don't think Oscar.
So the whole thing is this, right? They in multiple years, J. Edgar. So let's even start with 2010, right? Shutter Island, or maybe J.
Inception
Edgar
was pretty solid.
No, like meaning like his acting in it, right? J. Edgar, Django Unchained. Also, there's a whole scene about where he
cut his hand on the glass.
And it's another one of those. It's like the Aragorn scene, right? The Lord of the Rings scene. You have to say it. It's his real blood, and he wipes it on this girl's face. It's real blood,
and like she's disgusted because she not disgusted. She's just like horrified, and like like you could like kind of see like since you know the fact that like she's like, are we really doing this? Because he just wiped his blood on me.
But yeah, like he had quite a few, and of course, The Revenant's the one that won.
Boring movie, honestly speaking.
Yeah,
like, but he fought a bear, and I think the reason why he won it is
because that's it.
He fought a bear.
He made it look like he fought a real bear.
I love that because like we're just at it like as a statement of fact. He fought a bear for this Oscar.
I think on that note, I think we should hit the hay. Maybe call it like wrap this up. Hey, come on! I want to go to sleep.
Are you Amish?
Only Amish people are allowed to go to sleep.
Like, what is this? When have you used that in your normal life?
On a sign off, let's see what we.
Yeah, let's read a couple that we didn't do.
Wait, what? OnlyFans business? Didn't we do this?
I mean, I guess. Well, I mean, I think we didn't read the chat.
But will Attack on Titan end this year?
I don't think it's real. It's been going on for 4 years. I can go on 15 more minutes about that.
Religion, gods, and rules. I don't understand this one.
Is it real? Like the rules of God and
okay,
and,
that's an interesting word.
Talking about that.
Yeah, I don't
know. Not touching this one.
Which one was that?
You can read
this.
Don't touch that one.
This would be interesting.
You could let go.
This would be interesting. That's fine.
Yeah.
The pyramids were not built only by humans.
Okay.
I truly believe that. There's so much scientifically you can't do.
Yeah. Well, I feel like if someone has a gun down your throat, you work harder.
You work harder, but you can't lift like 80 times.
I think
the
if
human
someone
capacity.
has a gun down my throat, I'm gonna.
So there's one statistic. I'll take too long, right? So the whole thing is the Great Pyramids of Giza. I never understood why they were considered like what's it called? One of the great wonders of the world, of the ancient world. Until I did some digging around, right? Apparently 2.3 million stones make them up. Each weigh like 2 to 5, maybe plus tons, and they were lugged miles,
exactly.
Miles. And it took them 20 years to build it. Right, so that's a long period of time, right? But the whole thing is at 2.3 million over 20 years. That means that they were laying stone, laying a brick in place,
laying brick,
laying
that
wood.
pipe.
One stone every 5 minutes, and that's regardless of the height. Right?
Enough slaves, man.
Well, I mean, enough slaves. Again, the time would be
again,
but they estimated that was about 4,000 slaves. But it was the whole thing was like
who is they?
Right?
How can we tell?
Fun fact: now you could play golf facing the pyramids.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a whole resort that just popped up. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like right, so you could see the whole pyramid from your resort.
Lovely.
Birds are not real.
I would have loved to talk about that one. I have things to say.
Did Epstein really die?
That's a solid one.
Yeah,
I know of a perfect guest to have for this one.
Bill Gates wouldn't come to our show.
He would not.
Yeah.
He did come to the island though.
A couple of visits from what I recall.
Lots of visits.
Mattress Firm and Arby's, and I think the question is, are they fronts or are they like, what's it called? What's the phrase for like
Money laundering?
Money laundering,
Yeah.
like sites for money laundering.
100%. I'm not even debating this. This is never had a man that like went to Arby's and it's like, let me go there another time. There's a sandwich shop. Go ahead.
Oh no, I'm sorry. You know what intrigues me when there are like 3 mattress stores on the same intersection.
Yeah. What's the business? Who's going there?
How is it that places like Nectar and all these other mattress places have such a high market share, but Mattress Firm is still like up and alive?
Yeah.
All in our
Costco,
face.
guys. Costco has all the mattresses.
Okay, we're not again. You need to hit the hay.
For what it's worth, my first mattress I bought after I got married from Mattress Firm.
Oh, it's people like these.
It's people like you. You know the reason. There's probably children in cages because of you.
All right, guys. Here's the thing. All right, money laundering only works if you're dealing in cash. Like, it's not like you're clean because you're cleaning the fresh bills or like old bills for fresh bills, right? Because you want unmarked bills, right? So you have to give cash back, and that's how you launder the money.
Or they just say that like you bought another mattress and they burn one. I don't know.
Who are they giving the money to?
Themselves.
They're just like,
positive money. Like, how are they getting the money?
It's cash. The second one was cash. It's like when people go to 7-Eleven, they're like, I have $3 on my EBT.
Yeah,
but I need to pay with like.
But someone put the EBT in, like the cash in there.
Guys, okay. Move on.
All right.
Fine. We'll do that later.
That could be our episode.
Yeah, he has to hit.
Were the moon landings real?
We already talked a little bit about them.
Warner Brothers, come on, bro.
Is it possible to really get out of the friend zone? The only thing I'll say is my boy Ron Weasley.
That's what your wife said too. Well, not in a derogatory way, but like we had a conversation.
It's why we're married, guys.
Yeah.
Listen, there's a whole thing, right? Like Harry was, what's it called? The boy who lived.
Yeah.
Ron is the boy who escaped the friend zone.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
No, but in reality though, do you guys like? I mean, again, topic for another day. But I think it would be interesting to know if you guys really think that someone can come out of the.
Why'd y'all look at me? is my question. Why y'all just directly look at me? Most of my friends are ugly.
To get out of the friend zone, you also have to have friends.
We're his friends.
That's true. We are his friends.
Where are they? We're the other ones, all right? We're the we're straight. Where are they?
It doesn't help us. They're all dudes.
The government is in contact with aliens.
I think they are because remember there's a whole. Well, I mean, again, a whole theory.
Cool topic to talk about. You need to hit the hay.
All right.
All right, guys. For me. AG1, does it work or not?
What's AG1?
So it's like a
green
supplement. Like instead of like a daily vitamin, it's like all greens and like freeze dried or whatever.
I don't care if it works or not. It makes me feel great.
Also,
AG1, if you guys want to, give us a promo code or something.
Yeah, it's gonna be straight Joe Rogan and then
we're the same category.
Same category.
Listen, we're more fun.
Podcasters that let me see your head. Probably balding.
Hey, I am not balding. I'm nowhere close to balding.
Give him 5 years. Okay.
I'm sorry.
And finally, heaven and hell. Did you pick correctly with your religions? Only death will tell.
I'm not touching that. What kind of podcast do you think it's going to be? Me just being like, you've chosen the wrong religion?
No, not the wrong religion. I think the whole thing is about, like, do you believe that heaven is real? Because, like, everyone has different definitions, right? Like, I think, there's, Indians have reincarnations. White people, I think, just have... like you die and then you go to heaven or hell, depending on your sins and shit.
But they're different levels of hell.
Yeah, there's a whole thing. Always try to be on the bottom because like heat rises.
That's how that one works in that case.
What? Hell, fire, heat rising?
Well,
this is straight facts.
Further down you go.
Is fire real?
What? What? I mean, short opinion before we hit the hay. I don't think so.
Is that going to be a wrap up thing? Hit the hay.
Hit the hay.
All right. Until next time.
See ya, chitheads.
Peace out.
Peace out.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. See you again, chitheads.